brand new game.
I was trying to contain myself. Oh my.
Go option one, not safe. These are insane.
And Brandon keep killing it.
What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome back to another episode of Uncensored. Yo, shout out to everybody already in the chat. You know what? It's legit. Like, I'll be honest with y'all. My kids went back to school this week, and I have been a little tired. Or they actually went back to school last week, but as you can tell, I'm very tired. And it has me a little drained. But when I get here and I start seeing the comments coming through, like, guess what day it is, creative fam? Shout out to you, Starlight Photos. Or Gabriel saying, oh, snap. It's time to bring it. Time to bring the fire, because, yeah, we got a fire show for you guys today. It actually makes me more excited when I see you guys are here. And that's honestly the reason why we do this show live. And so for everyone who happens to be watching this on the replay, you should definitely join us live every single Friday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I say us because you guys know every week he's here, my amazing co-host and good friend, Mr. Jarrell Peak.
What's up, creative fam? You guys do bring so much energy to this place. Like, we love what we do, but it just takes us to that next level.
Yeah, it's like we get a chance to nerd out, but like we're a little similar on certain things. Now, there's definitely things where we like 100% disagree, but like your canon love. But I will say that like it's so great to hop in the chat and hear what other people have to say.
Bro, Andrew's wild.
Andrew, already kicking it off. Already kicking it off. Jeez, what do we do? What's up in here? It's time for Sony hate.
Sony hate.
It is not time for Sony hate.
Sony hate forever.
Hey, look, y'all went ham last week.
Seriously.
I had time to go back through the comment sections. Y'all went nuts. And then we posted the clips on the Uncensored channel, which,
wild.
By the way, if you do love this show, we strongly recommend that you subscribe to the Uncensored channel, because that's where we post all the clips and all the shorts. And especially if you want to share a video with one of your creative friends, the clips is kind of the best way to go, because we know we be going for a long time sometimes. But we just enjoy hanging out with you guys. But we make the clips so that way it's easy for you guys to share. But y'all go ham last week. Y'all went ham on the Sony stuff. So shout out to everybody who tuned in last week. We had a great time hanging out with you guys. Dude, Brandon says, tell me about it. Kids stay depleting the energy level. Bro, that's legit where we are.
Oh, yeah.
Jarrell, how many kids you got again?
6 kids.
I just like hear you say it because I don't believe it.
You know what's wild?
I've seen them, but I just don't believe it.
My daughter last night, she's doing advanced geometry. She's a freshman at a school here. Bro, I didn't know nothing. I'm out here taking photos on ChatGPT and asking Chat to explain this to me, because I don't know nothing.
Dude,
I don't know nothing.
I can't imagine being somebody right now who's going through school and you know that ChatGPT exists.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we know Apple's new update's going to come out where you can just write the formula and it's going to tell you the answer. So that's absolutely wild. But shout out to you, Brandon. Thanks for tuning in. We see you every single week, Brandon, so we appreciate you hopping in here. Dang, hitting it early. That's not what this show's about.
Sometimes.
Last week it felt like that.
Yeah.
I talked to Marcus after the show, and he said, bro, normally I just kind of like listen in. He goes, last week felt like therapy.
Yeah.
He was like, last week felt like therapy. So for any of you guys who missed last week's episode, I strongly recommend you go back and check that out, because yeah, it was a therapy session, I think, for all of us. But yeah, no, absolutely. I see a couple other comments coming through. We're gonna go through these. Okay, you said DJI, you have our attention. That's right. I think we got some stuff we're gonna talk about with DJI today, which I think is gonna make a lot of people excited. But also, I'm really interested to hear what people have to say about this.
Yeah.
I think with DJI, they have more skin in the game than we actually initially thought about.
And they've been disruptors for a long time.
Bro, they drop bombs, especially in industries that they find are a little what's the word I'm looking for? they may be a little stale.
Yeah.
Industries that are a little stale. DJI hops in and says, hey, don't worry. Say less. We got you.
They put in a little innovation and we good.
Dude, they don't even have to put in a lot. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, baby, we live. We out here today. Super, super excited about today's episode. We got some people tuning in from Southern Arkansas. I think that's our first time seeing Arkansas. I don't think I've seen Arkansas in the chat before. Cool. So shout out to you, Jarvis. But yes, dude, we are super, super excited. DM Colorist, what's up, brother? Happy to see you guys in here. But yeah, dude, we're super, super excited about today's episode. Going through the chat real quick. I think somebody knows something.
The titles.
I think somebody knows something.
The titles. Wink for us, Cam. Wink for us.
I'm accepting text messages right now, Cam. Cam, shoot me a text. Let me know what you know.
Or anybody that knows something.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So not throwing Cam out there.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Anybody could. If
anybody knows anything, we're live. You could, be the school.
Oh, it looks like Kofi's giving us a little something.
Okay. Kofi says DJI drops the camera before the Pixis. Look, Kofi, I'll be honest with you. I hope you held on to your Komodo for a little while, because if you sold that Komodo,
that Pixis ain't never coming out.
That you might not never get that. You might want to pick that. You might want to pick that Komodo back up, because I haven't seen anybody get the Pixis.
Starlight said the Pixis is coming right out after the 5D Mark V DSLR.
Dude, Pixis. Man, that's a wild story. We definitely need to hop into that one too here pretty soon. But yes, you guys are in here, but I think it's super important for us to talk about this DJI story.
Yes.
Now, I think when I first saw this story around the DJI possibly releasing a mirrorless camera, my initial thoughts weren't like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it kind of makes sense. The only thing is this, like, where my first question became, well, where do they sit in the market, right? Because we've already had this conversation multiple times that, like, when you look at the market, we always, like, especially thanks to my favorite rapper of all time, Kendrick Lamar, we're always looking at who's the big three.
Yeah.
Right? And so for a lot of people, I'm not going to say everybody, because I know I'm going to piss people off when I say this, but for a lot of people, the big three has been Canon, Nikon, and Sony.
Yes, sir.
I think that is a safe assumption to make, right? But with DJI...
Actually, say it again. I was only listening for Canon, so I don't... I got to be honest. I heard Sony. Who's in your big three?
Nikon,
okay.
Sony, and Canon. That's our big three. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I know that's going to piss people off. But here's the thing. I personally believe that when it comes to the ability to take out one of those players in the big three, we're not that far off from some serious innovation being able to be able to do that. Now, a couple things we know about DJI currently.
Yes.
As somebody commented, and I brought up on screen, DJI made a pretty big acquisition a few years ago, just like we saw Nikon do with Red, where DJI bought Hasselblad. And that is a historic camera company. Now, we do know that Cam Mackey, one of our good friends, actually just made a video about a Hasselblad, so he's definitely talking
a little camera.
A little camera, right? But
it was beautiful, Cam.
It was a beautiful video for sure. But the question becomes, was the attempt of buying Hasselblad only to focus in that photography market? Now,
that would feel like a waste of money.
That would feel like a giant waste of money. And we saw pretty quickly that they did have some ideas, right? So like the drone that I actually have, which is the Mavic 3 Cine, not the Pro, the Cine, it has Hasselblad written on the top of it.
Yes.
And so we know that they've taken the Hasselblad technology and started to integrate it into their drones. They have now also continued to release Hasselblad photography first cameras, right? We also understand that this would not be the first DJI branded camera to come out. And we've seen it on far sides of the market.
Yes.
We have our entry level stuff, which is coming from your pocket cameras. They have the action camera.
Yep.
But then we can go to the far side of things and we look at, the Ronin 4D, right? And we know that with the 4D, we've seen that camera show up in cinema level productions. Like we talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Civil War.
Civil War. They used that camera in Civil War and for a lot of reasons. And that was the 6K version. That was before they even released the 8K modular head system that allowed you to literally just do a sensor swap, which I thought was actually really, innovative from DJI to have already owned a camera. And then when you were ready to upgrade the camera, you literally just did a sensor swap.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was absolutely like next level. Very few companies have done that. The only company I've seen that's even come close to that has been Red, where you could actually when they my original Raptor bought that camera, and then when the X came out, they had a upgrade program. So I was able to send in my existing Raptor and have them literally do a swap to put the global shutter X sensor inside of that camera.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're looking at this idea of DJI entering into the mirrorless market. And surprisingly, it seems like it would actually be easier than you originally would think, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because when you look at the Ronin 4D, obviously it's got the little chicken gimbal arm.
Yeah.
But if you literally just think, especially with the screen and the back and all sort of stuff, if you just took off the arm, you have a cinema camera.
Yes.
You have a FX6, you have it looks like a cinema camera. So I think it was probably harder to engineer the camera as a 4-axis camera, a gimbal camera. Take off the 4-axis gimbal and you have a proper cinema camera.
Yes.
That shoots 6K, 60, and ProRes and all the different flavors that you're willing to buy or license, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy camera.
And it's also kind of nuts that it's a camera that it's not like any other camera we've seen so far from the design. I think we talked about this as well a few weeks ago, but it was so many of these camera brands have this idea of what a camera has to look like, right? And it's sometimes when you're upgrading from one camera to another, let's take Canon, for example, we've seen them go from literally the 5D Mark I all the way up to now the R5. And the grip really hasn't changed very much, primarily because they want to try to keep to that same battery type, right?
Yeah.
And the idea of having your sensor dead center, battery grip on the right-hand side, some ergonomics that they kind of lock themselves to. I wonder sometimes from a design element, do you get limited on what you can do to the camera because of that? Versus DJI, they don't have that history that they need to sort of preserve through their design. So whether you're looking at the Osmo, I remember the first DJI Osmo camera was an eyeball on a stick. And that was the camera. But then we've seen DJI say, oh, we'll completely abandon that design. And now we have something like the Pocket 3 that, has a little screen that flips. Camera obviously got much smaller, completely different design. But it's they're willing to abandon the design of a camera in order to make what I believe is the better camera.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like DJI is very uniquely positioned in the market right now where they can actually do something completely crazy. Because Hasselblad, look at every Hasselblad camera that's ever been made. It doesn't look like a traditional camera, right? It always looks very different, and then it feels like everyone else looks at that and tries to make their own version of it. So it's I look at what DJI has and the ability to create something that is unique because they are willing to abandon traditional designs.
Yeah.
And I think that allows them to be able to build something that, what you said, with the 4D, has LiDAR.
Oh, yeah.
Built into the camera.
Already built in.
Yeah.
I think the key thing for me that kind of not scares me, but that feels this could be a real thing. They could actually step into the ring, is they've always been disruptors.
Yeah.
When I think about them creating a drone that didn't have a camera way, way back in the day. And it's literally oh, you can put your GoPro in here. And then at some point in time, they literally thought to themselves, yeah, I think we might design our own camera. And that camera, trash. like in the beginning, like not great. But oh my goodness, by the time of the Phantom 3, Advanced Professional, the Phantom 4, they're murdering. And now all of a sudden, respectfully, GoPro, it hurts a little. Like it hurts a little. Like they especially in the drone camera, it feels like they've kind of like leapfrogged you. And I don't know. It just like when you see that they did that there, and then they get into the gimbal, they just provide gimbals, and then they put a gimbal on a camera. And it's like, we can see where this is going. So this isn't like the first time or the second time. I feel like very soon, if it's not potentially the rumor date is September 28th, if it's not that day that they're releasing a mirrorless camera, I think it could be sometime soon.
Yeah, I feel like, I look at everybody else, and I love one of the comments that came through. Somebody says, I'm gonna put it on the screen because I love it. Ain't no big three, it's just big Nikon. I love that. Yeah. But when we talk about the big three, right?
Yeah.
I look at Panasonic. I look at Lumix, or I guess that same company. I look at Fuji, right? I look at Blackmagic. I would even I kind of put Red out of that. I know that Nikon technically owns Red, but I kind of put them out on their own a little bit. And I look at all the other brands that are sort of out there, that sort of exist, right? And I always wonder, how do they get into the big three? And the only way that I think they get into the big three, which is the same way that Sony, who was not a contender before mirrorless.
Yeah.
Like in the DSLR days, Sony was not a contender, right? But the way they got in was they were able to convert people, right? So you take a Canon fanboy who's tired of waiting. I'm not talking. Okay, look.
Never tired.
I'm taking him. You take a Canon fanboy who's tired of waiting, and you give them what they're looking for, and that Canon fanboy is willing to switch over to Sony, which is literally what we just saw happen. I think YC just made a video talking about being a Canon shooter and thinking about switching over to Sony. And this is what I think is how you get into the big three. This is how Sony became the disruptor, because they were able to convert people, which is a very, very hard thing to do. But then, if there was a brand that could convert people, I think it's a brand that people already trust, and they already own their stuff, and they already feel like they're a part of the ecosystem. Like, I don't think that anybody currently today looks at themselves as a DJI shooter, right? There's not like Team DJI, because when it comes to drones,
there ain't nobody else.
They are the game. They are the game.
Everybody's on Team DJI.
You know what I mean? They're the game. And then you take everyone who bought Osmos, you take everyone who has the Ronin. Like, when it comes to the gimbal game, sure, you've got Zhiyun gimbals out there, but like, everybody's got DJI gimbals. You know what I mean? So it's like, to adapt people into a mirrorless system, if a brand could make you switch from Canon, from Sony, from Nikon, I know you don't like it, but I think the brand, we're not talking about the camera yet. I'm just talking about the brand. I think DJI is the brand that could get people to switch.
Their ability and willingness to innovate, and their willingness to throw money at the wall.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, they could do it. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I was just thinking about the next topic that we're about to get into, of what do we want to see in the camera. And I'm like trying to wonder if I can get up in the morning for it.
Okay, so here's my thought. Before we get into what we want to see in the camera, they are already strategically placed. Because DJI has the E-mount on their cameras already.
Yeah.
Right? They also are a part of the L-Mounts Alliance, right? So they already have that going for them.
And Joshio has put every lens on the Inspire that you could ever imagine.
Yes. If it's not supposed to fit on the 4D or on the Inspire, Joshio has figured out how to make it happen.
Figured out how to do it.
So you will be able to make whatever lens you want to work on this camera work, right? So I think this is a great opportunity for us to look into the future here.
Okay.
So when it comes to the actual camera, based off of the technology that DJI already has, or that we've seen them sort of like flirt with a little bit, what is it that you would love to see inside of a supposed, rumored, alleged, wink, wink, DJI mirrorless camera? And chat, I want you guys to actually put what you want to see in a DJI camera as well. Put those down below in the comment section or over in the live chat if you're watching live with us. But I want to know, based off of what we know from DJI, which if you sit back and you think about it, we know a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see in a DJI mirrorless camera?
I got to be honest, to get me to switch, let's just assume that we're talking at minimum 6K, like we're not going backwards. Like, of course it needs autofocus. Of course it needs good low light, all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to say one feature that would get me to potentially shift because of what I do. And this is going to sound absurd. 18 stops of dynamic range. I need something that, as I'm shooting interiors of real estate, I've got unbelievable images out of the window and good exposure on the inside. If I had that, I'd be like, I'd look at you. I'd invest in you. But that would be my real estate rig. I don't know that it would be. And honestly, if it had 18 stop, and maybe it doesn't need to be 18. 18 might be too much, but I need something. I need something that's blowing my mind. Like when I'm looking, like I don't think 16 stops is enough. You don't think 16 stops is enough? So supposedly, I know that you think that I'm trying to Canon take over. Oh, God, but supposedly they're saying that the Canon 5D Mark II has 16 stops, and I've seen a few reviews, and I don't love the windows. I think it has good dynamic range, but I'm not loving the windows. I'm withholding my judgment.
Yeah.
But so that's the reason why I'm saying 18, maybe 17, because I don't know, maybe get a little bit more out of it. So That's my one thing. Of course, it needs to be 4K, or 6K was probably better. 6K, of course. Autofocus needs to be immaculate. Of course. Like, I don't know. Like, all things are great. But I want 18 stops.
Okay, so you're stuck on the stops of dynamic range.
For less than $8,000.
Look, from what I've even seen out of the Osmo Pocket 3, the dynamic range out of that camera, now granted, much smaller sensor, different camera altogether, that camera's image already looks amazing. So I would love to see...
How is it comparable?
I mean, it's really not. But what I'm saying is it's a fantastic camera. Now granted, this is all like, pretty much in their log. Somebody colors it. It looks great, especially like outdoors. It's much smaller sensor, built like fixed lens, so fixed aperture and all that. So like there are some limitations there, but the image that I've seen DJI be able to produce out of their most smallest camera, and then obviously what we've seen out of the far end, lets me feel pretty confident that they're going to make a solid image sensor. I'm really confident about that.
Yes.
Is the number 17 stops? Is it listed as 17, but it's really 15, or like Canon sometimes says, oh, we're 16, but then it's like 14 usable. I think we're going to get a good image, and I think it's almost impossible to make a camera in 2024 that doesn't have a good image. The innovative side of things that I really want to see DJI do is just different stuff. Like everybody's fighting right now for more dynamic range and faster readouts, right? But where I want to see DJI like disrupt the market is, like, for example, with the Pocket 3, if you have the DJI mics, the ability to have that directly connect and like via Bluetooth, and now you don't need a receiver on top. or
But good Bluetooth.
good Bluetooth. Yeah,
Good
obviously.
Bluetooth.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, this is all expecting like the highest quality.
Yeah.
Or like the same way they came out with the new adapter piece that allows them to directly connect into the Sony, so there's no cable that's like having to move through. Like if that's built into this camera, that would be a huge win as far as I'm concerned when it comes to entering into the mirrorless market for this type of a camera.
Yeah.
But then, like, they've done other stuff that we've seen already, like whether that is their DJI LiDAR focus hand unit, like having that type of control, but having that ecosystem work as one, or even the video transmitter being built into the camera that works with their wireless monitor. Like, these are the areas that, like, I don't think a Canon, a Nikon, a Sony could even do, because they're not touching these other areas.
Yeah.
They're not touching audio. They're not touching wireless transmission. You know what I mean? They're not touching gimbals. So when you talk about having a camera that's directly connected to your RS4 Pro and it has like full camera control, so your gimbal literally has full camera control of the actual camera and can just pull focus with the wheel on the back. Like, this is where I feel like an ecosystem for DJI is possible in a way where, like, with the normal big three and the big cameras right now, when you think about their ecosystem, you think about the camera, the lens, the battery grip, and like on-camera flashes, right? Like, that's the extent. And like for Canon, you think about printers, right? Like that's the extent of that camera brand's ecosystem. Everything else is external companies having to try to make their stuff work. Like, we even saw it with Canon, trying to make the Tascam system be able to connect to it so that way you could get 32-bit float, right? And even Panasonic having to, they were like one of the first ones to give us 32-bit float with a built-in system, or not built-in, but an attachable system, but it's within their ecosystem, right? I am excited about DJI because I feel like we could actually see their ecosystem evolve into the accessories where everything just works. It's almost like the closest thing we get to like Apple, where you could buy a phone, an iPad, and a Mac, and everything just sort of works together.
Yeah.
Could you imagine buying a DJI camera where you know its ecosystem is going to work better with a LiDAR system? It's going to work better with a wireless transmission system. It's going to work better with the hand grip. It's going to work better with the gimbal. Like, I am more so excited with the ecosystem that DJI could create. So even if I'm one stop less of dynamic range than the average camera of today's time period, my workflow becomes so much easier because of the ecosystem, that to me, that's where they have a chance at knocking out somebody from the big three. I don't know who it's going to be. But they have a chance at knocking someone out of the big three, because most of us already own 3 or 4 items in the ecosystem already. If you tell me I could get your camera, it plugs in, and everything I already own just got 10 times better. Oh, that to me is worth switching.
Somehow this turned into a Dear DJI.
It kind of did, didn't it? It kind of did.
When you made that parallel between Apple and DJI, literally it kind of opened up my mind, like, dang, that's wild. Because I will say, what keeps me in the Apple ecosystem is my laptop talks to my phone, and my phone talks to my watch, and everything syncs across it. And I just think 100% as a filmmaker, if you make our job easier, I think if you're providing innovation in a way, you're able to create products that Nikon's not making, Canon's not making. Like, Sony is probably the closest in terms of making other things other than just cameras.
Yeah.
But even still, like, when I think about the amount of DJI products I already currently have, like, I don't have multiple Sony products that aren't beyond a camera. So I don't own any Sony cameras, but yeah. So I think that's actually good. I think that's really cool.
You know where else I think they have a huge opportunity? The fact that they don't. Well, I guess they kind of do with the Inspire, but they don't focus on lenses, because most of these companies have to protect their lens line. But DJI doesn't really sell lenses. They don't really make lenses, right? So if you could throw. I mean, they have those lenses for the Inspire.
For sure.
But then I think they're like Micro Four Thirds lenses for the Inspire.
Yes.
But I'm talking about like full frame,
for sure,
multiple thousands of dollars, and that's a huge bottom line for them.
Yeah.
Like Canon's bottom line is lenses, and we know it because they won't let anybody else make it, right?
For sure.
But DJI not having to fight with them, use a Sony lens. We don't care.
Yeah.
Use a L mount lens.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
If they open it up to the Z mount or to all these other mounts and they say buy whatever lens you want, we really don't care.
Yeah.
Now you start talking about people who are in these other ecosystems, the switch game becomes so easy.
Yes. Yeah, especially if it's an interchangeable mount that you can maybe do.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
wow.
that, and that's what we see with the Inspire.
Yeah.
That's what we see with the 4D.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, I'm excited about the ecosystem more so than like the specific camera. I'm sure the camera's gonna be dope, but it'll also be a first gen.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, it's gonna have to deal with first gen problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of first gen problems, I guess, because they already have all the pieces everywhere else. But still first gen. I think the ecosystem for DJI could be next level. And I don't know if the first camera is the one that gets the big switch.
Yeah.
But when that ecosystem starts flowing, I think you got a good chance there. So let's go ahead and hop into the comment sections and let's see what people are saying. Sorry, I know I was going on for a minute there. I'm really excited about this if you can't tell. But let's go ahead. Let's 30. DJI will make 30 stops of dynamic range for their sensor. Yeah.
Did I say something ridiculous, Marcus? Ridiculous?
18 stops is a little ridiculous.
18 is ridiculous, but bro, the IC's
Alberto
20.
says that's a reach.
The IC's 20. Give me the I, bro.
Now, this is one that we didn't talk about, built-in NDs. Does DJI have any history of built-in NDs? I don't think so.
Not in the drones. I've had the Mavic Pro 2 and I have the Mini 3.
Yeah, I've not seen any of those. Here's a question. You want to read this one off for me?
Yeah, the AK sensor and specs they have in the Ronin 4D in a box that is compatible out of the box with their gimbals. It can be rigged regularly on sticks if need be.
That would be super sick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, realistically, I even think right now with the 4D, they could just take the gimbal off of that thing, slap the sensor onto the box, and it's a dope cinema camera, as is.
And, bro, if you charge less because the gimbal's not on it,
yeah.
I'm not saying you would have to, but if you did, oh gosh.
That could take over. Ron says 16 stops is enough.
It's never enough, Ron.
Okay, here's another one. I'll let you read this one off.
Focus link your drone to your camera, and whatever your camera is focused on, the drone will focus on. And
follow and dual record.
Yeah.
And built-in SSD,
1 terabyte, weather sealing, Hasselblad glass, so upgrade.
You know, and that's another one. The built-in SSD. Like my drone, so I got the Cine that has the 1 terabyte built-in. So clutch.
I feel like every camera, like I don't want just strictly built SSD.
No, you still need a card.
Because then it's like if it fails, you're down a camera, blah, blah, blah. But how many times have y'all been on a shoot? You didn't bring an SD card.
Dude, drones killed me. I would always forget my micro SD card. Always. It was the worst. Luckily, I could just run through like a CVS or something. Let's see. Canon Love. Oh, let's get out of here.
People.
Get out of here. Get out of here. That's not what we're talking about.
He didn't put you up on accident. He saw Canon.
I thought it was a comparison. Also, smaller version of the 4D. The size and lack of I/O for the 4D is a problem. Yeah, I think if you made it smaller, that would be obviously helpful for more people, especially if it's going to be balanced on a gimbal or put on sticks.
And without a gimbal, you probably don't need that size.
No.
Probably the size of the Ronin 4D was built upon the fact of we need a large battery.
2 large batteries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have to support this chicken head.
Yeah, the gimbal and the battery and the processing and everything else. And I know they're using Inspire batteries, so that was probably like we already have a bunch of these batteries out in the world, or we've already produced a bunch of these batteries. And I'm not thinking that the Inspire is like a massive seller.
Yeah.
So you probably have a bunch of extra batteries. And you're like, oh, we'll build this camera that could use it. But with this, you could probably go a whole different route when it comes to power. So that'd be really sick. All right, next one. Mr. DM Colorist says, this is a deer. Okay, let's hit it.
Dear DJI, make the perfect camera. 8K, 24 to 240p. 16 stops.
Wait, he said global shutter. GS,
Plus.
global shutter.
He said 16 stops plus. See, thank you for agreeing with me, DM. That built-in LiDAR, built-in fizz connections, CF Express 4.0, RAW, IBIS, ARRI log. Keep it under 12K. Better yet, keep it under 5K.
Make it free. Look, the only thing I didn't see on here. Well, he said RAW, but here's the thing that's interesting. They actually have a deal already with Apple because we've seen ProRes RAW internal on the Inspire. It was actually the first camera to
You
get.
have to buy that license, right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
it was the first camera that Apple gave internal ProRes RAW to when ProRes RAW first came out. Because before that, you had to go external into like a Ninja. Like the Ninja had the license. So you'd buy the license through Ninja, and then depending on the camera you had, you could go RAW out of the HDMI and record there. But Apple has a long-term relationship with DJI
That's cool.
for ProRes RAW. So I think that's awesome. I think that's RAW probably isn't too far out of the equation. All right, I'm going to blitz through some of these. I'll let you read these quick.
Apart from good IQ, AF, etc., give me internal storage like the Hasselblad, care like the drones, oh my gosh, this is
Yes.
anti-theft, innovate, give us things others don't, even though we pay so much. That is so true. Like when you think about that, nobody, obviously drones fly and crash all the time,
Right.
but cameras probably do too. And obviously there's Canon professional services, and I'm sure Nikon and Sony have theirs or whatever. But yeah, could you imagine being able to drop like $300 and you get a replacement for your camera?
Yeah. That is something like none of the other brands have like a warranty like that.
Yeah.
That is kind of insane that you could do that. You know what else this made me think about when he said care like the drones? I don't know if you've ever do you have the smart controller with the screen? It runs on Android. All of that flight is running on Android. Imagine if Android controlled this camera. So you could have like apps on there, Instagram, Lightroom, all that stuff, and you could just switch through apps because when you go into the DJI Fly app, that's literally just an app. And when you control your Ronin, that's just an app, and it can run on iOS and Android. Imagine if Android was controlling this camera and it could connect to the internet. Dude,
Live streaming.
Dude, I think they have a huge leg up already. All right, let's keep running. Here we go.
Make a camera simple to use like cell phone. You do not have to worry about ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Sometimes love without borders. That's nice features.
Yeah. I mean, you could throw it in auto. I'm sure it'll have some version of auto.
Yes.
But yeah, that seems
those iPhone videos sometimes be looking better.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's annoying sometimes.
That is why when a client pulls up their iPhone and they're just like,
everything is in focus
why does
and
this look
also
better?
exposed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is perfectly
Everything is perfectly exposed, like right now in real time. No processing.
If DJI, thank you guys for keeping the comments good, because we just be reading without.
Yeah. We should be
pulling you up. So thank you. If DJI pushes a mirrorless camera, I'd want to see built-in LiDAR, autofocus, full frame, high dynamic range, at least 13. Built-in indies, 12-bit RAW, internal 32-bit float audio. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Possibly a box body instead of a...
standard body.
Oh, I was going to say an STD body.
That's not what that is. A standard body. No, I think I agree. I think I agree with all. Those are all great things. Let's see. RJ. Shout out to RJ again. Last week was his birthday, so welcome back. Thank you for coming in. Full frame, 12-bit minimum. Would love 16. Open gate, global shutter, 4K minimum. Would love 6K with 4K 60 and 14 plus stops at dynamic range. I'd buy.
Put those blazars on it.
Ooh, Ron has a good one. He says NFC instead of Bluetooth. Interesting. A DJI 360 camera. You know, that's the market I always thought they would actually jump into first, would be a 360 camera.
Oh, because Insta's in that world.
Insta's in that world. Action, like they've already gone after the DJI action cameras, and they really felt like they were trying to go for that like action sports era. And so I thought they would maybe jump into a 360 camera. But I remember GoPro tried to make a 360 camera, and that thing
the Max
sucked. It was awful.
The workflow is what hurts me.
That's it.
It hurts
it's
me.
Always the workflow.
Even on the
360.
Insta360. And I haven't used it in a while.
That's easier,
Yes.
but GoPro's workflow was awful.
I want it to be like an SD card. Put it in your and that might have more to do with Premiere or DaVinci
that's
or
exactly
whatever.
what it is. It's
But
the
it's like,
plugins.
bro, I don't want a third party.
It's so good. All right, here we go. Built-in drone. Press a button. Props come out. Now,
Could you imagine?
Now our brains
It's
are
like
going.
a crow.
At any time, you're like taking a photo here, and then you're like, doop, throw it up, and it just starts flying.
Dude, that'd be fire.
I love that. And LiDAR. Yeah, we're talking about LiDAR.
Yes.
LiDAR again. Here's one from Cam.
The biggest important feature behind the 4D is the interface. I've never experienced a more intuitive, easy to use OS, and their whole ecosystem is seamless. Dude, are you telling us something, bro?
I think they need to keep that. I think he's right.
You too.
You know what else? You know what's really interesting that DJI also has?
What's that?
This is like so off the wall. Every one of their products has an amazing screen. Have you ever noticed that? Like the actual screen, like even on the mic,
Yes.
like the little screen that they put on the microphone, and like to what Cam is saying, super intuitive.
Yes.
You don't need to read an instruction manual. If you need to swipe, they literally have a little line down there to make it dummy proof for you. And when you're moving quick,
Yeah.
the last thing you want to have to do is like pull out your phone to Google how to do something.
One of the biggest upgrades along that line of what you're talking about is when they came out with the smart controller.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, not having to use your phone anymore?
Oh yeah. Because I would be terrified. My phone's like dying
It's
faster
already-
than the gimbal, than the drone's dying. See,
You had to remember an SD card.
Yes.
You had to remember a micro SD card. You had to remember, is your phone charged?
right.
You had to remember you charged the drone battery and the controller.
Yes.
And they just took care of so many of those things.
Yeah, just make my life easier. I love that. Latest stabilization algorithm on IBS. That'd be interesting.
Yes.
How they would be able to do that. The pairing would be very smooth with the DJI ecosystem. I totally agree with that. Cam says, I think it'd be crazy if they could create a camera system that could be a Lego, can attach to a gimbal, drone, Hasselblad unit, etc. Dude.
Hasselblad could learn them.
Yeah, I mean, Hasselblad has already had the modular system, so
The fact in your video of you taking that digital back and putting it on the photography front, like, gosh, like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. I
That was
think
nuts.
it could be really cool if they did that.
Kofi says, I'd love to see a Ronin 4D with no gimbal arm and maybe a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I love that everybody's sort of on the same page here. Like, someone says, "Dear DJI, give us AirDrop." Dude, the camera that puts AirDrop in it might make me switch for that reason alone.
Bro, I use AirDrop every day.
Every day.
Every
Every day. Dude, that is the upgrade that we really need.
Gustavo.
Good call out right there. But yeah, dude, I'm just kind of switching through these really quick. Someone says L Mount Alliance for sure. First gen DJI is always weird. That is very true, Rob. That is
Are you holding a chicken cam? Rob?
no, that's definitely. I think that's a red. Hey, Rob, is that a red in your profile picture? I think that's a red.
Rob, I think you need a chicken cam.
Nah, he only shoots on red. You didn't know? Rob was always.
No, he is a Burano for life.
That was on red. He only owns reds. Trust me.
Exposed.
I've been to his house. All
Uncensored.
reds.
Wow,
All
calling that
reds.
man out.
I've been there.
Calling him out.
Cam says the 4D has built-in NDs. All right, so that's the upgrade. So
That's cool.
we talked about it earlier. Could they possibly put built-in NDs? We have that in the 4D, so that's really sick. But yeah, I'm just kind of quickly scrolling through these because I know we have some other topics to get there. But yes, I totally agree with a lot of you guys. Carlos tuning in here. He says interchangeable lens mounts would be dope.
Yes.
That is something that granted, the mirrorless game makes that difficult, right? But I do love the idea of having interchangeable lens mounts would be really sick. And Rob just confirmed, hashtag, is that a red? That is a red.
Is that a red?
Anytime you see Rob Machado
it's-
shooting, it's always a red. Even if it looks like a Sony, it's a red. That's his secret power, is that he can make any camera not look like a red, even though it really is. He's a wizard. And then somebody else, Gustavo, will pop back in here. He says, their UI reminds me of Hasselblad. Would be interesting to see Hasselblad's UI in their cameras.
All right, we did this last week with the Z8. If it got a firmware update, if you haven't seen that, watch it. Last week's live stream. But I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
With all of these crazy specs, chat, I want to know, is this something you're going to buy or are you just talking?
Oh, that's
so
a good
in
one.
the chat, let me know. Are you buying or are you just talking?
You know what? Of all the brands that could like get me to do a hard switch, I feel like DJI is a system that I could switch for. Like, I'll be honest, and I know I don't think they're even here anymore because they hate me so much. But like, you could take everything we just asked for, minus the ecosystem stuff,
Lumix gang?
and throw it in a Lumix. I'm still probably not buying it. Like, I don't know what it is. I just can't jump to that system. You know what it is? Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. But because I'm already so invested in the DJI system with their other elements, they are the easiest right now when it comes to ecosystem for me to actually buy. So that's just my opinion.
Pull up these comments.
Let's see what y'all saying. Here it comes, chat. Here it comes. Are you willing to buy a camera from a company that might get banned in the U.S.? You know what? I own enough of their stuff. As long as I could buy it before it gets banned. Just because the government bans it doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. Unless they're going to give me my money back. I'm good with it.
No more firmware updates past 1.0.
Starlight says, just talking.
Just talking.
Max says, yes. R5 Photo says, yes, definitely a buy. Marcus, just talking. RJ Her says, I'm going to be honest.
I'm just talking.
Gustavo, though, he's with me. He says 100%, I'll buy.
Yeah.
But DM says, not going to buy a DJI cinema camera. Red. Nikon for life.
Yes.
Red/Nikon for life. Okay, I got you.
Max
says under $5,000. Yeah, he's in. STM Films. If it's a L mount, I would consider.
Yep.
I get that. Andrew definitely would buy. I'm in the market for a cinema camera. Anyway, there you go. Catch him at the right time.
Dude, that Inspire image looks insane.
It does. It's insane. You know what my favorite things with the Inspire are that I love? When they do like a drone shot and then they land it and somebody goes handheld with it and it just you don't even realize it. I honestly, like, one time I saw a shot like that and I was like, oh, that's really cool. They like dropped the camera off the gimbal onto a gimbal, like off the drone onto a gimbal. I was like, oh, that's so cool. The whole time I thought it was like a traditional cinema camera.
Yeah.
Had no idea they were literally just holding the drone.
Yeah.
That's-
There are I can be inspired by some images beyond Canon.
Yeah.
And that's one of the images, the Inspire 3. Bro, it's partly it has to do with the perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like it's incredible, but that image be looking nice.
Now, our 34 Media says, if they let me use Canon glass, I'll switch.
Can you imagine? Obviously, we're talking about the DJI mirrorless.
Yeah.
But could you imagine, bro, putting that 28-70 f2 on an Inspire?
Dude, the whole drone
be
would
dragged.
you just get the drone probably wouldn't even take off. You just get error
The
messages.
props are in the ground trying to. That's all I could think about. Man, that lens is so heavy, bro.
Joe says, I buy DJI version 2 when it comes out a year later. Yeah, honestly, though, recently, I feel like DJI hasn't been dropping new stuff every year like they used to.
They might be planning for this.
Yeah, maybe they pulled their team and said, hey, let's all go focus on this for now because there's no competition in the drone space.
Yeah.
So Mr. Camera Junkie says, talking right now. I'm not switching. I get it. I'm with it.
He's Sony for life, right?
Mr. Camera Junkie?
Yeah.
I think he is. I think you're Sony shooter.
Sony for life.
Trying to keep up with all y'all. Starlight says, Panasonic used to be the leader in video. I don't know why everyone sleeps on Lumix. They slept on them because their autofocus was terrible for too long. I'll tell you exactly why. But now, I don't know. It's just too late. There's too many options.
It's not too late,
It's too
Brandon.
late.
It's too late for you.
It's not too late, but it's gonna take a lot.
Because you can make a fair comparison that Nikon was too late to the game.
Yes.
And you could also make a comparison that Canon was too late
Yeah.
in their mirrorless.
Yeah. The thing about
Sony was the only person that cooked everybody.
You know what it is for me? Because, like, even when I was, like, very early on, like, you know, shooting on my Nikons, I was a little quiet about it. Like, I didn't tell a whole lot of people about it.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I've always been Team Red. So, Nikon buying Red definitely helped me feel more stable in my decision-making.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, I got receipts. You can go check out old episodes. I was claiming Nikon. I was claiming Red before the acquisition. But
It is hard if every car goes at the same speed, but one has a faster takeoff speed. It is kind of hard. So, I mean, Sony did step into the mirrorless game very quickly.
Yeah.
And had features that people wanted very quickly. And now that everybody's at the same speed, pretty much, because all cameras are great.
Yeah.
It is hard when people have like brand loyalties now.
Well, not only that, but like the differences are so minor between camera to camera that it's like so much of it is just preference. It's not better.
Yeah.
It's preference. It's
You've
like,
established your
this
workflow.
is 8K, this is 4K. That's a lot of that is still preference.
Yeah.
Like 8K is not superior to 4K in all instances. And those instances are decided off of preference, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I absolutely think that's why I think DJI could be the most biggest disruptor, because they can bring stuff that nobody else has. Because that's what we're always talking about, right?
Yeah.
The C400 has tri-base ISO. We focus on that because it's the one thing that nobody else has. But
Until DJI says native ISO.
100% native ISO, the whole thing.
It's all native.
It's all native.
And then our minds will be blown.
But yeah, somebody said, bro, sleep on Lumix. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, SCM. I'm snoozing, hitting the snooze button a couple times. Yes, he'll switch. Hey, yo says, yes, I will switch. Someone says, you secretly love the L mount. You're wrong. Brandon says he's just talking. Someone says, I'm a DJI convert. Been enjoying it. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people are kind of, like, it's kind of 50-50, maybe. 50-50, that's a lot. I think that's a lot because I don't expect, when you ask most people, will you switch brands? I think 20% of people might openly say they'll switch, and like 10% actually will do it. But this is 50% of people saying they're willing to buy a DJI camera. Most people won't even buy outside
Not
their
even based
ecosystem.
off of the specs.
Yes. This is
Just based off of y'all unicorn camera that y'all created.
Yes. Our unicorn camera. Let us enjoy this.
Let the real camera come out, and then we'll see if people are buying.
We will talk about it on the show for sure. And then we'll see.
September 28th.
September
If they come out with
Is that the date?
If they
September
have-
28th. That's supposed to be the day. We got confirmation from Mr. Camera Junkie. Yes, he is a Sony shooter.
I felt like it.
Yeah. What does that mean?
No, that man loves him some Sony.
Yeah, he did have some stuff. Ron says, I hate brand loyalty. I just prefer companies to do things right. You know, I hate, but there's still hate in this world. So it just is what it is.
Yes.
Kofi says, if the price is right and it works in the 73 DJI products I own, oh yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, and that's really more so the point. It's not really like, do I think like I do think they have the opportunity to disrupt the big three.
Yeah.
If a brand could like drop one camera and completely disrupt the big three, I do think that they have the opportunity to do it. I'll also be very transparent and say that like Nikon dropped the Z9 a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And as great as that camera was, I don't think it put them in the big three. It wasn't one camera from them could not put them in the big three.
Yeah.
It took a Z9.
Unless it got mass adopted.
But that's the thing. What I'm saying is that camera, that specific camera,
Yeah, it didn't.
Didn't do it. It took a Z9, a Z8, and now a Z6 III, in my opinion, that gives them the ladder they need to be talked up, like to be in the big three, right? It takes all of their cameras that puts them in the big three. It takes all of what Canon does in their lenses to put them in the big three. It takes all of Sony's cameras to put them in the big three. DJI is probably the only camera company right now that could release one camera and make us think They
Yeah,
could be in the big three.
because all of a sudden we weren't thinking of them as a camera company.
Right.
We were thinking of them as a drone company or an action cam company.
Yes.
But if they drop a camera, do all of their products and ecosystems get sucked into being a camera company?
Yeah, I think exactly it does. Now, if this camera comes out on the 28th, which is the rumor right now says that if this camera comes out on the 28th, or the rumor says, that the camera will be announced on the 28th, or something is going to be said. Maybe there's a hint, a teaser, whatever. But if this camera comes out, gets announced, and I have a question for you and chat, let me know. If a camera from DJI comes out, but it has no connection to any of their other products, no ecosystem built in, does that deflate your immediate thoughts of the camera?
I got to be honest. For me, if they came out with the baller camera, because they have been an accessory brand to my workflow, if I bought the camera, it would be, if I had a need, and it would be an accessory to my Canon, just like a drone, just like a gimbal.
Got it.
Like, it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to drop a camera that's just so crazy that I'm going to say, I need to sell. I don't like my Canons. I don't like my 7200. I don't like and I'm going to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
It would literally be like, I will shoot real estate with my camera, and then I'll shoot it with my drone. This would literally be like, let's say, like for me, like I said, I need like 18 stops, maybe 17, maybe 16 stops with dynamic range. It would literally become my real estate camera. But it probably wouldn't become I don't need that dynamic range in an interview.
Got it.
So I would still probably use C70 for my interview and stuff like that. So I would be okay. Obviously, there'd be so much power in it being connected to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
But if it was just a standalone camera and it was great at what it did, honestly, I would buy it, because maybe it could match better or easier.
That's immediately what I started thinking.
With a drone.
I mean, like, I don't know how often obviously in real estate it's a little bit easier, but if you've had to go from using one of the Mavics and then also having to color match that to one of your like ground cameras, it can be very difficult.
It can be.
Yeah. And
so oftentimes I'll cut from orbital drone to inside.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier that we're not comparing outside to outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to do that too.
Yeah.
And so like I think that like having a color profile that match between your camera and your drone, that could be awesome.
Because I'm not a fan of D-Log.
Yeah. People are saying if it is someone Rovan said, I'm not buying. Rovan says, I'm not buying.
I ain't even talking.
I ain't buying a DJI non-DJI camera. Someone says Kofi says if it's not connected to the ecosystem, it better be a damn good camera. Brandon says totally deflated.
We took away all the superpowers.
Yeah, so it's very clear. Like that's kind of what, like, for me, that I'm in the same boat. I feel like if it's not a part of the ecosystem, it's really kind of pointless.
Yeah.
It really is.
You feel like you'd be handicapping it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it could be, but nah.
Yeah, which is something that I'm afraid of with the DJI first gen product. Because, like, I mean, as some of you guys may know or maybe don't know yet, I have the DJI LiDAR Pro system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, DJI did not send this to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I got this, and I'm testing it out. And I'm not affiliated with DJI at all. This is a very first gen product. Mm-hmm. Like it's so first gen that I'm struggling putting my review together.
Yeah.
Like I think I've come up with like 5 different analogies trying to figure out like how do I explain what the hell this thing is, because it's weird, bro. And like I know we've talked about it, but it's weird. So like I want to be very careful with how I put that out to the world. The same thing with the original Osmo, the eyeball camera.
Webcam.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was a very weird camera when it first came out. And like how it worked, you had to have a phone attached to it and like the connection of it. Like I used that camera. I actually tried that camera out for real estate for a while. Terrible. It wasn't wide enough. But like it was a weird first gen product. I hope that this first generation product that they could come out with would be better. That is just my hope there.
Yeah. But they show they seem like they don't seem like a person that just invent something and then drops it. They
Yeah.
seem like they refine, even if it's weird, even if it maybe didn't push units.
They're going to refine it.
Gen 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some feedback. But I guess we'll all know on September 28th when Cam drops his video. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Let's see what else we got in here real quick. I want to just knock out these last bit of the comments here. Am I missing anybody?
You could go to that one.
Which one? Here.
Just up 2.
This one here?
Yeah.
DJI?
Let's see. DJI will take all from Sony, Canon, ++. Seriously, I think they will be a strong contender and not afraid to go that extra mile to push people out there.
You know what? And I think that would be another thought is just that, like, how would this push every other brand? You don't think it would?
Yeah, like I think it's an addition to personally.
Yeah.
Like if they, especially, now this might be ridiculous to ask for. Create something in that $2,500 and under. It'll be an addition.
Okay.
And not a cinema, like a mirrorless. Like I don't think that they can go into the 4,000 or 5,000 range. You can do whatever you want. But if you're in that range, you're going to have the same problem that everybody else when they came out with their big camera and you ain't got nothing underneath it.
Yeah.
So you have to almost start
At the
at
bottom
the
of it.
RP range.
Yeah.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
so you come out with that, have it integrated into your ecosystem. Then people will have a DJI workflow. That'll just be a part of what I do. But if you come out with a freaking $5,000 camera, it better be the greatest thing on earth.
Yeah.
Because I'm not selling. Not selling.
You're not selling anything to get it
Yeah, because I'm just going to lose too much money.
in the process of the change.
And it's not just the money loss. Like, the cameras that we currently have are so good that you're like, this camera that I paid $5,000 for, it ain't worth $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, I could keep it, use it, and still get money.
You're right. To lose,
I'm gonna
to sell
sell?
it. Yeah, to sell it, lose on that value, and then buy
Yeah.
something else new, first gen.
Yeah.
That is a big. That
So
is a big
it's
swing.
hard. So, like, if they put it in the right price point, though, it can be like a drone. That
Yeah.
can be a part of my workflow.
Yeah. Roving Earth says that the Ronin 4D is their big camera. I could agree with that.
Yeah.
If this mirrorless camera is video focused.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we've been on this topic for a really long time. We normally don't stay on topics this long.
That is so true. I'm
Dude,
like,
we've been on this topic for dang near an hour.
it's y'all's fault, though. Y'all comments are good.
No, I mean, they don't seem to mind. But the question becomes, you know how like on the drone, it technically takes photos, right? Like I use my drone more so for video.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of the features, like the flying features, obstacle avoidance, a lot of that has to do with taking video.
Yeah.
But it does do video, or it does take photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And technically, somebody told me this, and I just disagree. But the C70, one of my biggest complaints is that it doesn't take photos. And someone's like, it does. It has an image capture setting, and you can map it to a button. I was like, I mean, kinda, right? And then the same thing with the Blackmagics.
Yeah.
They technically have a stills button on it, but you're not using that to take photos, right? Do you think DJI, as a camera company that has focused primarily in video, but they still dabble in photos. A lot of their products are video first, though.
Yeah.
Do you think they would come out with a video first hybrid camera? Or do you think it would be a real hybrid camera where it's 50-50 video, 50-50 photo, and they would take some of the technology from Hasselblad to give them the photo side of what they need?
I think they're going to mirror, just honest, I think they're going to mirror what they do in their drones.
Okay.
They have, 95% video features in their drone? And on their photo side, they have a dedicated button.
They have bracketing.
Okay, they have bracketing.
Yeah.
So 90-10?
Yeah.
Which, honestly, it has to be hybrid. I think it would be dumb to create a mirrorless camera that couldn't take photos.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would just be like a missed opportunity for someone to complain about.
Right, but are you thinking like it needs to be like
No.
15 photos a second,
No.
30 photos a second? Like I'm talking about like that, like eye autofocus.
That eye autofocus, 100%, but you should have that in your video.
Yeah, okay. I see
You
what you're
know,
saying.
so oh gosh, I don't know what I don't want to say bare minimum, but it needs to have 5 photos per second.
So still
photos.
very video first. Chad, are y'all with him on this? Like, is it still very video first?
Yeah.
Photo second?
I mean, I don't know, because this is where it's hard though, because I'm not thinking about like the 17-year-old, the 18-year-old that's buying their first camera.
Yeah.
And if I'm the 17, 18-year-old, I want a true hybrid.
Yeah.
I want full video. I want full photos. I don't want to be handicapped. I'm thinking about like a who called me 78 years old last stream? I'm thinking like a 78-year-old man that has everything, that is only going to use this for video. If I wanted photos, I'm going to use my other photo camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no, actually, I changed my answer. I need to be thinking about the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like, don't handicap me. I need a full photo video. Now, lean towards video for sure. But yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be sick. I don't want to see this though. Not just kidding. I do think that they could absolutely crush it in the video space. I don't think that's a question. My question more is in the photo, but because they have Hasselblad, I think they could do something.
Y'all are so old.
Of course, video
Y'all
first.
are so old.
No,
Stop
they're
thinking
just-
like old people.
No, they're
Think
thinking
like the young people.
They're thinking like us, bro.
Think like the young people.
They're thinking just like, I'm down with it.
Think
I'm
like
down
the
with
young people.
it. Video first. All right, so that's a lot on DJI. If you guys have any additional thoughts on the DJI rumored camera, be sure to put them down below in the comment section. Also, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Also, if you are currently watching this live stream on the Brandon Washington YouTube channel, the best place to actually watch this live stream is over on the Uncensored YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Somebody, Mr. Camera Junkie or Travis, can y'all put that in the chat for me? So that way people can go check that out. That is the best place to watch this stream because every single week we go live, currently on both channels.
Yeah.
But coming up very soon, we will only be going live over on the Uncensored channel.
Yeah.
And as well as here after this month, so going into next month, into September, the replay will only be available over on the actual Uncensored channel. So if you guys are enjoying this show, please do me a huge favor. Go subscribe. Go check out the Uncensored YouTube channel because we're going to do this every single week. We're going to keep hanging out. But because of YouTube and the algorithm and all the other stuff y'all don't care about, we have to split it off and put it onto its own channel. So
Yeah.
we appreciate everyone who has already gone over to the Uncensored channel and who's been hanging out there because it's been a blast.
Yeah. It's been so good.
So good. Great comments. All right. Now, typically we do cover multiple topics, but this has been a good first one. So let's go ahead and jump into this next one really quickly.
Yes.
Because speaking of new cameras, we did get a new camera announcement. It is what I think is a weird announcement, but
Yes.
after thinking about it, I think it's actually not that crazy.
Have y'all been on B&H this morning?
Yeah, because if you have, you will see that Sony, who we have been like talking about, like, they've been kind of quiet. Right? Mm-hmm. Sony released a new camera, but if you haven't done your research, it's probably not what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the fact that Sony released a new camcorder. Now, Jarrell, you have the actual specs on this camcorder.
Yes.
But this is a true camcorder in every sense of what you're probably thinking. Not a cinema camera, not a mirrorless camera.
No detachable lenses.
A true camcorder. So go do me a favor. Let's run through the specs on this thing because it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. Sony, your naming scheme, you need to upgrade it because it is the Sony PXW-Z200.
I hate that.
I hate that.
I hate that so much.
But it is a single 1-inch CMOS sensor. The way they list these, 20 times optical zoom, shoots in 4K 120, 1080p 240, Cinetone, 4-channel audio, dual CF Express Type A card slots, and SDI.
Now,
and
there's
AI
two of them.
powered.
Well, there's AI powered
Yes.
autofocus, right? But there's two camcorders.
Yes.
So what's the difference between the two?
From what I can tell, the major difference, the Z200, let's just call it that, $4,000 is SDI.
Okay.
But then the the NX800.
Names.
Yeah, it's too much. It is $700 cheaper, and it's an HDMI.
Now, what's interesting to me about these is the zoom range. The zoom range, you said it's a 20-time optical, but the zoom range is, what is it, 24 to
24 to 400.
400.
Mm-hmm.
That is, now granted, that is an expensive camcorder.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're thinking like the old school Sony handy cams that used to come out. But, Carlos said the same thing. That is an expensive, and it's expensive media for a camcorder.
Got to go to that B.
But when you start talking about 24 to 400, that's I can just take this camera and this lens, put it in almost anybody's hands.
Internal ND,
and just start letting them fill.
And we've watched their promo, and because it's a camcorder, everything's in focus.
That is the one thing. Like, look, I know I give Micro Four Thirds a lot of crap, but a 1-inch sensor, oh my gosh, everything.
When they put it side by side, we're not hating. We're not going back to Sony hate. But when they put it side by side with the FX6, and they're like, it matches so well, it's like, yeah, except for that
depth.
except for that depth.
Yeah, no, that's definitely different. So,
but the image.
The image looks good.
Looks good.
And I feel like with a camera like this, like obviously they're not going after filmmakers with this. But if you're somebody who is doing like broadcasts, like shooting a church, shooting sports, live events, that seems like a really capable camera. And
documentaries.
The zoom range was incredibly impressive.
Yes.
Especially because of how sharp it was all the way through.
Yes.
So as far as I'm concerned, and this is a question, like, there is still a need for camcorders in 2024. I think they definitely still have their place in certain use cases because some cameras have just gotten overly complicated for what they're trying to do. Yeah. But do you think that there's still a need for camcorders today, or do we have enough in the market already?
100%. Because I feel like not everybody's like us. Not everybody, and I'm not even like saying like, hey, we're the pinnacle of creativity or that sort of deal. Definitely but I'm just saying there are people that are just trying to capture what's going on.
Yeah.
And when you think about soccer games, when you think about, like a documentary, when like the actual information is the most important thing, this thing is insanely versatile. You can put it in the hands of any single person. And as long as they're not shaking crazy, you should have a beautiful image.
Right.
And so throw it in auto indie, and they had a little, going from inside to outside shot. And what I feel like the FX6 is like kind of known for in terms of its electronic ND. I don't know if this is electronic ND, but that kind of going from interior to exterior, I feel like they make stuff look easy, kind of like cell phones.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a expensive, this sounds disrespectful. This feels like an expensive cell phone that just works.
Well, it's the zoom for me. I think that's going to be the reason. So Carlos asked, so is it a digital zoom or optical? So it is an optical zoom.
So 20, I'm sure like most camcorders that go 20 optical, and then there's probably, you can push it further.
Into digital, yeah.
But you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we saw was from the 400, pull all the way back out to the 24.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
It looked good. I
mean, it looked solid all the way through. And that zoom range is so beneficial for a lot of like live events, especially if you're shooting on like sticks or you're trying to capture a conference. Like I said, my son plays baseball, and when I saw this camera, I was like, oh, this could actually be a really good camera to like capture the baseball game, because like there's no telling where he's going to be. I need to be able to zoom in, zoom out, or especially like now my son's playing football this year, like being able to like zoom in to where he is and be able to capture like that moment in full 4K, 60 frames, like so you can have that sharpness, be able to play back footage, whatever. Like that definitely, I think there is a group of people for that. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not spending $4,000 to capture my son playing football, especially with the cameras I already have running around. But yeah, I think for like a school or something like that,
100%.
This is going to be an easy one. Like if I was teaching an AV class and like I needed to teach people video and I wanted to make it as simple as possible
Yes.
and make sure that they get the shot, something like this I think would be a pretty decent.
Recitals, plays, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like low light looked good. Like, yeah, this is just it's good.
Yeah. See, Rob is saying I would be so down to give one of these to whoever is doing BTS. Yeah, I think you gotta you're just like a documentary. Like you just need to capture the moment and not miss it. Something like this will be a fantastic camera.
Yeah.
Where the moment is more important than the artistic elements of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how artistic you're gonna be able to get with a 1-inch sensor and everything being in focus. But yeah, no, I absolutely think this is a pretty solid one. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think 2024 is the end of camcorders. I think this is good. I know Canon was really big into camcorders back in the day. I'm still here for it.
Yeah.
I think we do need some cameras that are more simple. I think a lot of cameras are getting better, but they're also getting, I don't know, kind of confusing. So it's like, how do we get to a place to where things are easy again? I think camcorders are a good way to do it.
Yeah, DM colors. What about weddings? Yes. I mean, I just feel like there are people 100% that just want to capture the wedding, capture the vows. I feel like because of filmmakers, and honestly filmmakers, that have created people's wedding films into works of art, that you would want to make sure that your client is good with just the capture.
But I feel like for like the reception or the ceremony, something like that, something like this camera would be great.
100%.
But you're probably gonna have other cameras to get the artistic stuff.
Yeah,
because weddings now, I mean, especially like our good friend Porter.
Yeah.
Weddings have definitely hit a whole.
You need that. Gosh, you need that bokeh. You need it.
Yeah.
You need that at minimum 1.8 for not every shot, but for a lot. And I think that you could do shot for shot between a FX3 versus this, and they're going to pick that FX3 every day. So I feel like as long as you do, as long as they know, we are just capturing the ceremony. Like, this is all we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think you can make good money off of putting this on a tripod, filming. Boom, here you go. Boom. And you're not going to make the type of money that someone makes making a traditional, not a non-traditional wedding film.
Yeah.
But you make $500, $1,000.
Yeah, I think that like this camera is more so going to fit in where like you don't want the bokeh. Like sports.
Yeah.
Like you don't want depth of field, I mean, now,
focus is important.
Getting the
Deep
right focus. Deep focus. But what I'm saying is like having more stuff in focus, especially in the background, is more of a benefit because like with sports and stuff, it's a little bit easier there.
Yeah.
Is this Marcus? Oh no, this is
Michael. These camcorders are the reason why Sony is discontinuing their bridge cameras. They have the super zoom and proper form factor. Don't know enough about that.
I don't know enough about the bridge cameras. I'll have to do some research on that one too. But yeah, no, I absolutely think that like we could see more camcorders hit the market this year. That would be incredibly interesting to see how it actually affects and how filmmakers choose to adopt them and how other shooters who have maybe been forced into mirrorless cameras who really would just like the benefit of a camcorder.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen some stuff out of camcorders that look amazing.
Yeah.
And there are some creators who are like, yeah, I just like it because I don't have to worry about swapping lenses.
Yeah.
It's all right here. Super easy for me to use.
Andrew asked a good question.
Yep.
I think I just want to kind of talk about it a little bit.
The last one?
Yeah. How are we defining art today? It feels like we were saying bokeh and expensive gear defines art versus capture. Just for me personally, I am not saying anything is art. Like me personally, I'm not like trying to say an FX3 is art versus the camcorder isn't art.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is more of its expectations, what we've been trained on.
Yeah.
Like, so when these brides are on Instagram and they're checking out clips, they have formed and developed an expectation of what their wedding film, what luxury looks like, and all sort of things. I don't think that we get to decide that personally.
Yeah.
Like when we say luxury, like I don't get to decide what's luxury. Like the world has decided this is luxury. Not just like with like camera stuff, but like what makes that shirt luxury and this shirt not luxury? You know what I mean? Like
it's the CFA logo.
Somebody, but it's like the world has decided this thing is valuable. Gold is valuable. Silver, not so much. Sort of, yeah. And so like for me, I'm saying more from like an expectation standpoint. People have been trained now in 2024 and honestly for a long time that not every photo, because that is childish to think that everything has to be shot at 1.8, 1.4, 1.2. But people, especially if that background is not pretty, bro, you better have that depth.
Yeah, you better blow it out.
You better blow it out.
Like that for me, what I was mentioning when it came to like the artistic capabilities of this camera is there are just certain limitations with a camcorder. Like, for example, you can't swap lenses. So whatever that lens gives you is what you have to work with. So that's one like giant limitation when it comes to like the amount of paintbrushes you have to work with, right? Also, the size of the sensor is another limitation. So when I look at this camera and I say, oh, it's like if you want to make something artistic, you might want to go with like a different camera, like an FX3 or mirrorless. That's just more so because you have more options with what you can do with those type of cameras. This camera takes away a lot of those options, but by taking away options, it also simplifies the creative process. So when I say you're probably not going to make the most artistic films using this camera, it's more so saying that you're not going to have as many options to be able to make your own artistic decisions because of the limitations of this camera. But it's also those limitations that make the camera easier to use by somebody who doesn't typically shoot or who is kind of new to the game.
Yeah.
So that's more so what I was meaning. I hope that makes sense for everybody.
But we appreciate your comments, even if they don't line up with what we're saying.
That was a great question. But yeah, no, I absolutely think that 2024 is the year that camcorders make a comeback. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Sony, for giving us something that we didn't know that.
We didn't want.
We didn't want. I didn't know how to finish that. Cool for being cool.
Thank you. Just there's other stuff we want, so we're gonna keep waiting for that. All right, now, I think we go into the would you rather.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay, so chat, it is time for you guys to get involved. We have decided that this week we want to try something a little new, a little different. And there's two ways we want you guys to get involved. We had this idea yesterday to, just because we were asking these questions to each other randomly.
Yeah.
But it's a game of would you rather.
Yes.
Because there are so many times in this creative journey where you're like at a fork in the road and you have to make a really tough decision. And it can be fun to sort of workshop those ideas out in your head ahead of time. So that way when you do come to those situations. So here's the two things. We're first gonna ask each other, or he's gonna put up a would you rather for me to answer, and then Jarrell will answer it. But chat, if you have any really good would you rathers, I would love to hear you guys sound off.
This is a filmmaker edition.
Yes, filmmaker edition. Let me make it very clear. Filmmaker would you edition, would you rathers. And if you disagree with our would you rathers, you can also sound those off into the chat as well.
Yeah, so, let us know. And it'd be a lot to like some of these would you rathers. They're not complex, but they got several words to them. So put a 1 or a 2 of what you would you rather. Yeah. Like option 1, option 2.
Yeah, just sound it off in the chat. So this will be fun. All right, you ready?
Yes. Brandon, would you rather work with a client who gives you complete creative freedom but a tight deadline, or a client who has strict guidelines but gives you ample time to deliver? Option 1 or option 2?
For me, I think I'm going ample time.
Okay.
And strict guidelines. Because a client who knows exactly what they want allows me to turn a part of my brain off that I enjoy when I'm working with clients. Like, if you tell me exactly what to do, and know exactly how you want me to get it done, then I don't have to second guess anything.
Yeah.
It's a very logical transaction for me.
Yeah.
Show up, do what they ask, give it to them. And you're giving me ample time to get it done
Yeah.
all day. I'm taking that. I know a lot of people are saying option one.
Well, it's funny, Brandon, because I am the opposite from you. I would actually like one, and I even understand why we don't see on this one, because of past experiences that we've had. But I gotta be 100% honest with you. I love a client that they're like, I like what you do, and I don't know what I'm doing. I trust you.
Yeah.
And I need this done tomorrow. I love deadlines, and I also love creative freedom. So I like one.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I think recently I was in one, and I won't say who the client was.
Yes.
But I was recently in a situation of
Little
one.
client.
And bro, it was I like two. I'll just say that. I'll just say I like option two. Give me more time and tell me exactly what you want.
All right, let's see what you guys have to say.
It seems fairly split.
It does now seem more split.
Yeah, I mean, it kicked off with a lot of people saying it's one, two, got a couple twos. So I think it's fairly split. You know, I think a lot of it comes down to your experience.
Yeah.
Like, have you, like, you know, one, do you feel confident if a client comes to you with a very specific need? Do you want to do that? The thing I'll also say is, like, my creative freedom is this. It's YouTube.
Yeah.
So, like, I get that through an outside source. So when I'm doing client work, I just prefer, just tell me exactly what you want me to do. Let's go do it. And that way I can, like, just make that work and mentally be in a state of work when I do that. So then when I have that, when I want to do that creative freedom stuff, I can kind of do that on my own time.
Oh, man, this
Which one?
next one is brutal, bro.
The would you rather?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get this.
Feel free to share creative, but can you make it look like
What did he say?
Rob? I was looking at Rob's.
Oh, okay. Let me pull it up.
Feel free to use your creativity, but can you make it look like this? So we are taking this, like, I know that you guys are, what do they call it when you're like, when you take a situation and then you put your own experiences into it?
Yeah.
That's what y'all are doing. We're assuming the positive in this nature, that option one, they give you creative freedom,
Yeah.
right, with a tight deadline, and it's going to turn out well.
Yes.
And option two,
Yeah. No, but
they tell you exactly what, but y'all are.
I will say with Rob, this is exactly how I be feeling. It's like, feel free and do whatever you want, but can you make it look like this? Like,
Yeah.
I will. Okay, quick story time. The reason why I think I lean towards two is because I was on a project where it was like, hey, you have full creative control. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then when we got into the edit, it was like, but can we do this, and this? And I was just like, no, that's not. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I just tell me what you want.
Oh,
tell me
for
what
sure.
you want up front.
For sure.
It makes my life easier.
For sure.
I can turn that part of my brain off. All right.
Yeah.
You guys ready for the second one?
Yes, this one's interesting, okay? May or may not have happened recently.
Okay.
Would you rather work on a project where the audio recording was lost, requiring extensive voiceovers, or where the footage was slightly overexposed and needs significant color correction?
Oh, wait a minute. So the first one is you have a problem with the audio is
lost, and you need voiceovers,
Okay.
or slightly overexposed. Now that doesn't sound terrible,
It doesn't.
but needs significant color correction.
Oh. I think I'm gonna take option two. I think I'll deal with the overexposed. Gosh, you know what sucks about that is because oh, that's tough. Because here's the thing. I know that a person is more likely to watch a video with bad visuals and good audio.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather have good audio than bad video. But I know that the client is going to judge me for how the video looks more so than they're going to judge me for how the audio is. Yeah, RJ says option 3,
Just quit
altogether. But yeah, I will say I'd rather deal with bad video, and I'll tell you also what I've done because I've had this happen before.
This is some game, y'all. This is some game.
Graphics go a long way.
Yeah.
So you have a video that has some overexposed, you just B-roll and graphic the hell out of it. You go find some video, some stock video, you throw some drone in there, you sprinkle some graphics on top, lower thirds, picture in picture, make them small.
Yeah.
Make the interview small and then make something in the background. You can deal with that. But yeah, you got bad audio. That's almost impossible.
Y'all changed it a little too much because it didn't say bad audio. So we're going to split on this one again. It says, work on a project where the audio recording was lost, requiring extensive voiceovers. So I'm going to take that because in that reality, you're going to have to go to the client either way and say something got messed up. The audio got messed up or the video got messed up.
Oh, I just won't say anything about the video. I just make it look so dope.
It's light and airy. It's light and airy. But I'm going to say the audio because I feel like in either way, I'm going to have to go back to the client and be like, hey, a mistake was made. But in this case, we can redo the audio. It doesn't give you an option to reshoot. And this is all coming from ChatGPT. So the second option with the overexposure and the color correction, you don't get to do a redo, but you get to do a redo on the audio. So I'm going to do exactly what you said. 100%. I'm going to do voiceovers.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to establish the person sitting down. Let's say I'm assuming it's an interview.
Yeah.
And then we're cutting to B-roll.
New ADR.
And then 100%.
ADR the whole thing.
But then the video looks crispy. So I'm going to go 1.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else is going with me, but.
So, I like Ron's thing. I'm going to go creative. I'm going to just turn the whole video black and white. It's a creative decision.
Yes.
I'm going back to choosing option 1 on the last one. I have full creative control. And option 2 on the second one. I'm going black and white. There we go. All right. By the way, if you guys have any would you rathers, feel free and sound them off in the chat. I think there was I think we had one early on. Ron had one. Here you go. I'll let you read this one off.
Would you rather have 5 cameras from different brands with 1 lens for each, or 1 camera with as many lenses that fit as you want?
Oh, I'm taking.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so I either have 5 camera brands with 1 lens that goes on all of them.
Yes.
Or 1 camera with as many lenses as I can fit. Oh, I'm taking 1 camera with as many lenses.
I'm going to split on you on this.
Really?
You want to know why?
Why?
Give me that Ari. Give me that Red Raptor. Give me that Venice.
Yeah, but you're stuck with 1 lens on all those cameras.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 5 different ones. I'm only gonna take the
1 lens.
Oh, wait a minute.
That goes on all 5 cameras.
Or 1 lens for each of your 1 cameras. So 1 lens.
Oh, well, that's cheating. That's 5 lenses.
Yeah, I'm picking up the best of what everybody has to offer.
You're just gonna go.
I'm picking up.
That's cheating.
No, what he says 5 cameras from different brands.
Ron asked the question wrong. He meant to ask it the way I asked.
Yes, Ari, Red, picking up a Venice. He said 5 different brands. So I'm picking up the Canon C700. I'm just C400, and then who else am I picking up? Who's got a banging cinema camera? Ursa?
No.
Ursa?
Maybe.
Who am I leaving out?
What did you say so far?
Venice?
Yep.
Raptor? Yep. Ari? C400? Maybe C500 Mark II, but C400.
Black Magic.
Yeah,
Ursa. Any other option.
I feel like that you could get the
Panasonic Eva.
I think I can match the Black Magic with anything, and then hopefully, like all of their raw codecs will get me close enough.
Dude, no, I'm taking 1 camera, and I want unlimited lenses on it.
That is wild.
I mean, unlimited lenses?
Give me those Panavision.
For real. Because he says any lens that'll fit. I'm getting a mirrorless type mount, and then I'm going to be like throwing PL and give me every lens that ever existed.
Brandon said still got to pay for it.
That
So I'll
was
take
not
the
part
one
of
camera.
it. That was not part of it. That was not part of it. No one said you got to pay for it. This is all hypothetical. All right,
Yeah.
next one. You got one?
Yes. All right. So this one's also hits a little home. Would you rather would you rather have to reshoot an entire project due to a corrupted memory card?
Been there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So close. Or would you sorry, I've lost it. Or would you rather pay to fix the card drive? So would you rather reshoot or would you rather pay to get the actual footage not corrupted?
This totally depends on if it's a client project or if it's personal.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a client project, I'm probably getting it fixed. And I'm saying this because I've been in this situation before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I've done it both ways. It really just comes down to what's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you. It literally comes down to whatever's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, reshooting a project because of a corrupted memory card is completely out of your control. I actually have a clause like that in my contract. It's just like, hey, unfortunately, like something like this could happen. Here are the options. We could reshoot. But I do have that clause. It really just comes down to what's cheaper.
You write that into your contract?
Mm-hmm. Wow. It just basically says that, like, if something happens to the media and I'm like, it's out of my control, that then we will communicate together to figure out how we actually go about moving forward, whether that is a reshoot or getting the card replaced. And that's a discussion that happens at the time, but I'm not held legally responsible. So they can't sue me because the memory card got corrupted.
You know what's wild?
What?
I did have the second part of it in,
Mm-hmm.
like for when I did weddings,
Yeah.
like that. No one specific shot is guaranteed.
Yes.
Like you're not going to sue me for I
One
missed
shot.
the first kiss.
Yes.
You or never. But I also have you're not going to sue me if the card corrupts. You're adding to the. Like we're going to have to figure out a way whether that's a reshoot or whatever. Like, I think that's really smart.
Yeah. It's part of it's in the area where my force majeure
Yeah.
is.
I thought it was Majeure.
I don't know. I'm not French.
I don't know, yeah.
But yeah, it's written in there. It's in that section. I had a lawyer help me write it all up, so I don't know exactly. It's all legalese.
Rocketlawyer.com.
Now it would be ChatGPT.com. But yeah, having that in there, absolutely a game changer. But yeah, for me, it just comes down to what's cheaper.
Yeah, I actually had this problem yesterday. I thought my microphone was on, and I'm not going to go into the details and make excuses. I messed up. Audio was not on. Had to do a reshoot.
Yeah.
So,
but if it's an easy reshoot, it doesn't feel like it's that much.
it
work.
doesn't feel bad.
Yeah.
But if it's like it's a blockbuster movie or something, yeah. And my fear is when I've run the data recovery stuff and it hands me back footage and I'm like, why does it look like that?
Yeah.
Like data recovery 4 or whatever.
Yep.
Like sometimes like the photos will be like 100% looking or 99% looking good, but then it has like a weird split or a weird something.
Yeah.
My fear in trying to recover data. Now, obviously, if you use the big boys or whatever, like maybe it comes back perfect. But like I've done that on drives and I'm like, I paid $200 for this software and y'all gave me something that looks like most of my image. I'm good.
Yeah, they're just trying to get you something. But yeah, no, absolutely. So, shout out to Roger. What's up, Roger? Says super chat. Lunch on me, fellas.
Thank you, Roger.
Appreciate it.
You're a good man. I saw a good would you rather in the just up a little bit.
This one?
Yes.
All right, here you go. Ready?
Would you rather, and remember, chat, let us know option 1 or 2. Would you rather have a high-paying client, but your worst nightmare? Or, that's not the one I was thinking. But we'll go with this one. Would you rather have a high-paying client? No, we'll do it. Would you rather have a high-paying client, but your worst nightmare? Or have someone you gave a discount be your best client? How much worse nightmare are we talking about? Like the actual worst?
I mean, you're saying my highest paying client? that's a good client. that's a really good client. I also have something. I don't want to say that. I'm not gonna say we tax those who come in more difficult, but yeah, if you work with me one time and you're difficult, and the second time you work with me, the price has gone up. Sometimes it's inflation. Sometimes it's just onset damage.
Yes.
But dude,
That's
highest
hard.
paying client. You know what? I'm gonna take the. God, that's really hard. Because it's like I would like to say. Actually, you know what it was probably gonna come down to, Jarrell? Here
What's
it is.
that?
How's my account looking? Has it been a good month? Has it been a good 3 months?
Yeah.
Because if it's been a good 3 months, I don't need the high paying client. I'll be all right. But if it's been a little slow, I could deal with the jerk for a few days.
Dude, Brandon, I'm going to have to go option 2. And obviously, money does dictate things. But I've had a client that literally I delivered a video to. And this man called his bank and did a reverse transaction.
Oh.
And I almost lost it. Like I almost lost it. So
That's
almost
totally different.
I will almost always pick the
nicer
best client. Yeah, because it's like,
dude,
that's what I think about with worst nightmare.
That's different.
Worst nightmare.
Okay, if that's the worst nightmare, then yeah, I'm taking the one who pays me.
He was your worst client. He was your highest paying client for a day. And then
it was the highest paying invoice you ever sent, but never got paid on.
And then never got paid on.
Oh,
Boy, I almost lost. Like, I'm a pretty chill dude, man. I almost lost it.
All right, is this the one you were thinking?
Oh no.
No. Which one? This one here?
Yes, that one.
Okay, Andrew?
Yes, Andrew.
All right, here we go. Here's the next one.
Would you rather have an amazing series of client who pay $75,000 a year, or a single troubling client that pays $100,000 a year?
So
the reason why I
similar.
like this one
Yeah.
was because it gave us like tactile
Numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take the 75. Yeah, I'm going to take the 75.
Yeah, because Uncle Sam's going to take the other 25.
That's right. The difference there in the tax bracket is a little bit easier. I'll take the 75. And he says an amazing series of clients who pay 75. I am always over have fewer clients or have more clients that pay you maybe a little bit less, because if any of them fall on hard times, the rest of them can pick it up. But if you got one troubling client, he's got we're one conversation away from me having to walk away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can only take so much disrespect from a client where I'm just like, hey, you know what? It's not worth it. I don't care. Like, I don't care anymore. I'll go find somebody else. So I'll probably go run to the 75 at that point anyway.
So same. Always, like, the people that I work with are incredible people. Yeah. And if they're incredible, life's good. If they're not, bro, it's too much stress.
Absolutely. All right. Someone says good relationships are the best. This is from Gustavo. Good relationships are the best. You'll love to continue working with them and meet profitable goals rather than just do a temporary Band-Aid on a massive injury. Yep, I 100% agree with you. All right, let's see. Let's keep rocking it. Roger says, 2 good clients. There's no price for stupid people. Yeah.
Emotional damage.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Hey, look, Andrew knew exactly what I was talking about. He knew exactly what I was talking about.
Seriously.
It is it is that tax, baby.
Yes.
Andrew knew it. I'm not gonna say it, but he knew it. Oh man. Yeah, so Mr. Zion says 10K versus 5K, taking the nightmare. Hey, I get it. Look, that's what I said. When you gotta pay the bills, sometimes you gotta deal with those jerks.
You gotta pay the telephone bills.
Yep, but dude. What? Okay. Sorry, when you started singing TLC, I saw this post from this guy the other day. And he goes, it was so funny that TLC was singing about us being scrubs, knowing damn well that they were filing for bankruptcy.
Bro, they got robbed though, bro.
I mean, hey, whatever.
You know that they got obviously off topic. They got I don't know, off of their album, $10,000. They got advanced some money.
Yeah.
But tours, music videos, publisher, all that sort of stuff.
All get
they
taken.
walked away with like, I don't know, maybe like 80,000 each, maybe.
Read your contracts, folks.
Read your contracts.
Yes. Also, if you're a videographer and you're doing this professionally, write your own contract and then send that to your clients. Because some of the contracts I've received from clients, they're like, "Oh yeah, we got our own contract," and they like send it. It has nothing in there that we need. I'm like, "Yo, where's the exhibit page? Because I got some stuff I need to add." Because they're talking about stuff that don't even matter. They're like, "We own the intellectual property," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, but at what point does it say when you pay me?"
Yeah.
I don't care about intellectual property until we start talking about who's paying who.
So this is a good one that's a little bit different than the other ones.
Okay.
Would you rather capture an emotionally charged moment that's slightly out of focus, or a perfectly sharp, in focus image, but emotionally flat?
God, that's hard.
It's actually easy.
Really?
It's easy.
What's yours?
Oh. Dog, you're flat. I'm in focus. That's on you. That's on you.
See, I think you're thinking about it from like a client moment.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That doesn't have to go on my demo reel.
Oh, that's messed up.
Hey, you paid for it. You get it.
Hey, look, I think I'm going to take the emotionally charged moment that's slightly out of focus because I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, no, that's the new trend. You ain't know?
Brandon,
I'm
though.
gaslighting the mess out of
Brandon, though. Can you imagine, though? You're so proud of that moment, and then you're showing it to all your friends, and they're like, dog.
It's just slightly out of focus.
Dog.
It's just slightly out of focus.
What's up with that focus, dog?
I throw it in topaz. I'm throwing it in topaz. Everybody's rocking with me. One. I'm taking the emotionally charged moment.
Y'all are thinking about it on the other business side of things that the client's not going to notice. It's artistic.
Okay, I got a question. Here's a real one. All
but
right?
when you show it to your homies,
I don't care about them.
when you show it to your homies, you know they're going to dog you, bro.
Nobody knows about stuff being out of focus. They'll be all right. You know how many photos were slightly out of focus back in the DSLR days? Ain't nobody gonna care. I'm going back. We're gonna put it in black and white. We'll be good.
Nobody knows but us.
Nobody knows but us. All right. There was one really good one. I don't know if it was really good, but I saw Brandon threw one in here. I didn't actually get a chance to read it all the way through. Here you go. Jesus.
Would you rather have a client who demands that you shoot on Pentax, or a client that demands you shoot on Olympus? Since I don't know nothing about nothing, I'm gonna say Olympus.
I was gonna say Pentax. I feel like it'd just be more fun.
I didn't even know Pentax did video.
Oh, I was assuming this was photography.
Oh.
Does Pentax do video?
Well, I was doing Olympus because I thought Olympus might do video.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm taking Pentax. Just
That
for the
doesn't
hell
even
of it.
hurt my soul.
No, I'm just like, oh, if you're demanding me to do something, sure, just pay the bill. I don't care.
Yes.
All right. You want to do one more?
My homies don't pay me.
Sorry, like my homies don't pay me. Damn right they do.
Yeah.
All right. One more.
Okay. Would you rather shoot an I did not screen this, so whatever chat tells us. Would you rather shoot an incredible location with unreliable power sources, or in a less exciting location with all the technical support you need? You're in Maui,
Yes, but I'm running out of power.
but you just have unreliable power. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking like an outlet, but I guess that even means maybe your batteries.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I was thinking.
Yeah. Or you're in a less exciting location with all the technical support you need. Chat, let us know option 1 or 2.
I'm taking option 1.
Risking it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Am I going to shoot in Maui, or am I going to go shoot in that closet? 10 seconds of beautiful footage out of Maui is going to look better than an hour out of that closet. So sometimes it's the quality over the quantity.
What's the lowest percentage on your drone that you sent it up?
Oh, I sent it up beeping. Dude, I sent that thing up beeping. And I said it to not beep until like 15%. I've sent it up with 15% on it, and like it's beeping out the box, like out the bag. beep. I'm like, cool. I know it's gonna start landing at 10%. And so like I legit, this is terrible. I sent it at its highest point, knowing I had from 10% to dead for it to like land itself. And I was getting shots on the way down.
When did we do gear horror stories?
That's the bonus
Oh,
episode.
okay. That's the bonus. Dang. Bro, I ignored it one time.
The beeping?
I rented it.
Oh, God.
It was a rental. Like, I didn't even know. And
Okay,
it
wait. So set this up, because this is Jarrell's drone gear horror story. I got to hear it.
Oh, my gosh. I'm in Arizona, in the desert. I am 3 hours away from home. No cell phone signal. I am literally shooting a lyric video. I send a Phantom 3 professional into the canyon. I'm on the side of a mountain, and I'm filming, whatever. It says return to home warning, and I'm like, I look down at the percentage at 25%. I'm like, I got 25%. I'm good. I can see it. I ignore it. Film. This thing tells me, and I am on the side of a mountain. It is over the valley. This thing says to me, auto landing. I didn't even know what auto landing was. So I'm like thinking, I'm like trying to like push it up.
Yeah.
And I realize that no amount of pushing it up, it goes up. The only thing you can do is lateral movements.
Yeah.
I then lose it in my sight. So I don't know if it's going away from me or going further away. And you guys know when the pressure happens with drones.
You're not thinking.
You know, like, you're like, I can't see it. I don't know what's happening. And I literally, it's just descending on the side of a mountain. And so this is what I did. Praise the Lord. I decide, like from Boy Scout days, pick one marker, pick another marker, because that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, alrighty. I see this fun-looking tree over here, and I see this telephone pole over here, and it drops somewhere in between there. Bro, when I tell you no one even knew my location, no cell phone service, I walked down that mountain, and that day, this is going to sound dramatic, but I came to a realization after hiking down this mountain and being exhausted, had no water on me, didn't have hiking stuff on. I had this thought. This is how people die. Nobody knows I'm here.
Yeah.
No, I can't call 911. I slip, I fall, I twist something. I don't have no water. By the time I went down looking for the drone, could not find it, literally crawled back up the side of the mountain, was so exhausted. Like, just like, it took me like probably 2-3 hours just to climb back up the mountain. By the time I had got up to my car, like seeing stuff like delusion, drove probably a half an hour to a gas station, bought a Gatorade, drove home, had to call my boss and said, you know that drone we rented? Yeah, it landed somewhere. I don't know where. And literally we went back out the next day, 3 hours away, mind you.
Yeah.
With a team of like 6-7 people. And I said, this is all I can tell you between this pole, this tree, and this pole. And we found it. And it still worked. And we sent it back. And they didn't charge us.
Did the footage look good though?
It was Phantom 3 days. It wasn't worth dying. My boss was like, you walked down here? He was like, bro, the drone's $1,000, bro. He was like, what are you thinking, bro? And all I could think was, this was a new employer. Like,
Yeah.
I was a video director at a church. And so it was like,
I can't,
Like,
can't
I
mess
can't-
up at the beginning.
I rented this drone and y'all believed I could fly it.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's like those tough times where you're kind of caught where you're like, the last thing you want to do is tell somebody that you failed at this thing.
Yeah.
And with drones, it's so much worse.
Yes.
Like I've had I remember the first time I crashed a drone and I crashed my drone. I was super embarrassed about it because everyone already assumes you good at flying that thing.
You crashed it in front of people?
No. So
Okay,
I
okay,
crashed it like on my own.
Yeah.
But then like a few days go by and like I haven't talked about the drone. So excited. Talk about the drone. My wife goes, I haven't seen the drone in a while. I was like, oh yeah. I put it up. She was just like, everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything's fine.
How do they
Everything's
know,
good.
bro?
Dude, wives
She ain't
figure it out.
never asked about the drone a
She
day in
asked
her
about
life.
a drone since.
But she knows.
She knew immediately.
She knows.
She knew immediately. Because, I mean, it was a few days, but she was just like, because, I was flying the drone for go to somebody's birthday party. Brandon, you bringing the drone? Yeah, I'm bringing the drone. Kids are hanging out at baseball or something. I'll put the drone up and just let it circle.
Yeah.
We went to like 2 or 3 events and I didn't bring the drone and she was just like, where's the drone? You haven't used the drone. And I was just like, oh God, I gotta tell her that I crashed this thing. And like the whole time I'm like trying to figure out the warranty thing with DJI.
Yeah.
Luckily though, DJI's their warranty was, I don't know if it's still as good. I haven't had to use it as a while, but back then, it was perfect, primo. Except they at first want to like send you the parts to have you fix it yourself. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. They're like, oh yeah, we can just send you a new gimbal and you can just mount that on. I was like, you don't know who you're talking to. You need to take this whole thing back.
I will admit. Well, I didn't crash. That one wasn't a crash.
Okay.
Okay, that wasn't a crash.
That was a lost drone.
1, 2, 3.
3 drones?
3 drones.
Yeah.
I've gone through 3.
I have crashed 2 drones. One of them was not my fault. I don't know if I should tell this story. Do we have time? What time is it? It's already 1 o'clock. Sorry, guys.
It's already 1.
Sorry, we kind of just like went off on our own little tangent here. But I'll make it quick. I was downtown, and this is like before there's like all these like regulations and stuff. So I'm already just like, I'm just getting dope shots. I'm like in the city. I'm like downtown Houston flying, getting shots that I think just are amazing, like going through buildings and stuff like that. Stuff I probably should have been doing.
You fly over the Astro Stadium?
No, didn't do
Not
that.
over it, but
I got close.
Yeah.
I got real close.
That's some dope footage, bro.
Especially when it's open.
I dabble.
But I'm downtown, I'm flying, and then this homeless guy comes up. And like I guess he saw me take off.
Yeah.
And like I'm down there by myself.
Yeah.
I'm flying the drone, doing my own thing. And then I kind of look up and this homeless dude comes up and he's like, oh, you flying that thing? And I hate that question, especially when you're by yourself, because you're like, I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing, but I know you're not going to go away if I don't acknowledge you.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of an aggressive homeless guy. And so I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, I do it. So I kind of like set it back to hover. Now this is the Phantom 4. Their hovering was decent, but a gust of wind would send it.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to talk to this guy and trying to fly, trying to fly. And now I'm just like, all right, I just need to get this thing back. So I start trying to bring it back. Now I'm not trying to get any beauty shots, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not like perfectly down the middle of the street or anything. Let me just bring this thing back to me. And I start bringing it back and he's like, oh, so you just use the controllers like this. And he reaches across, Jarrell, I kid you not, and grabs my hand that's on the stick and pulls it. Yeah. Now, 2 thoughts go through my mind. Did this homeless man just touch me? Right? Like, I'm just like, I just feel so like he just invaded my personal space, right? Which is already a big pet peeve for me.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, oh crap, what just happens? And the DJI drone, literally, I just see on the screen, I just see a building out of the corner of the screen, and then I see the screen glitch. And then I see what just appears for a half a second falling. And then the entire transmission cuts out.
Yes.
And I'm just like, where was it?
Everyone's seen that. When you've hit something and you're like not expecting it.
Yes.
And it's like.
The camera just does something weird. You see something weird. And like the horizon's not where it's supposed to be.
You
immediately know. Oh,
she gone.
I'm like, where? But I'm in the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
So I don't know where exactly it was when it happened.
Yeah.
But then so I go back to my footage that records onto the big controller back in the day. And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, okay, what markers do I have? And I see this building. So I go, so I'm like, the homeless dude's like, oh, what happened? And I'm like, dude, you just crashed my drone. And he was like, I didn't do anything. Boom, takes off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who's going to believe me? I don't know if the drone fell on somebody's head.
Yeah.
I don't know what building it probably hit.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
So I look at it, and I start running to where I think it went down. And I go and I start looking. And like at this point, like you don't want to look like something's wrong in case you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're kind of like freaking out. And I'm looking around and I see 2 propellers that are cracked on the ground.
Uh-huh.
No drone. And I'm just like, oh crap, I'm screwed. Right? And I'm like looking around. I pick up the propellers and I'm looking, I look, battery on the ground. So now I'm like tracking it, like I'm like looking for a bear in the woods or something. And I'm like, oh, there's some stuff here. There's some stuff here. And I look, and then this guy is staring at me through a window, and I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, okay, this is no big deal. The guy comes out of the building. He goes, hey, you looking for a drone? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, oh, it hit one of our residences' building window. And I'm like, oh, crap. And he's like, they brought it to me. So what happened was the drone hit the side of the building, pieces broke off, fell to the ground. Luckily, not the whole drone, but the battery obviously did, and so did the propellers. Yeah. It landed on this person's balcony. Apparently, it was some lady. She was like freaked out by it because she was thinking somebody was peeping on her. Yeah. Right? Not my intentions. Yeah. The guy has the drone. It's in pieces. Yeah. He's got some of it on his desk. There's wires hanging all over the place. I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. He's like, well, you need to get this thing out of here. And I'm like, yep. I grab it and I just leave. Seriously. Dude, I get out of there so fast. Seriously. Because I'm just like, this is how I get arrested.
As long as you give me an option, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm like, I am out of here. Sorry, guys. So, like, luckily, nothing, like, bad. No one got hurt. Yeah. They didn't, like, come after me for any damages or anything like that. But, dude, you talk about being terrified. Yes. And then this happens. I'm freaked out. Second drone that's crashed. Of course, you got to talk to the wife about it. I'm like, yeah. And, like, I had a job coming up where I was going to need the drone for it soon. So I was like, yeah, I got to go buy another drone, blah, blah, blah. And my wife's like, why do you need to buy another drone? I was like, this one crashed. She was like, you crashed another drone? Seriously? I'm like, this one wasn't my fault. Yeah. You tried telling your wife that a homeless dude basically grabbed your drone while you were flying. That's not an easy story for her to believe, especially in the moment, especially when you're saying I also need to buy another drone. Yeah. Dude, worst drone experience. That was probably worse than when I crashed it myself. Yeah. Because that one, it wasn't my fault, but I still had to deal with all the repercussions of it. And to know that the guy who is at fault is like a homeless guy who, like, you know, like literally Captain Jack Sparrow like pranced away in the middle of it. I was like, God dang it. Yeah. That was terrifying.
You know what inspired this? When we said Maui, that was one of my drone crashes.
Was it in Maui?
Not in Maui, but in Kauai. Yeah. I was in Kauai, and they have these like tunnel system. And I was like, man, this would be so dope. Now, if you're a drone expert, you immediately know what the problem is. Body of water, cave system. I'm like, man, I'm going to fly my drone into that cave system. I'm going to get some dope footage. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so easy. The moment you cover the top antennas of your drone, it turns into a fully manual drone. There are no satellites to hover, keep it in place.
I didn't think about that.
Oh, so I'm going to help y'all. I'm going to help somebody. Bro, it literally, and I had a crowd of freaking people at Brandon. I had 13, 14 people. Is that a drone? Are you taking video? That's so cool. Can I see? Can I see? Oh, look, the drone's right there. My dude.
Those are the best impressions because that's exactly what they sound like.
The drone is drifting because I realize that I'm not like, it's not doing its stabilizing thing. It's just kind of like doing this, and it's just kind of doing this. And I am locked with anxiety. I'm like, I don't know what I should do. Yeah. Because it's just drifting. And every input that I give it, it's doing like wildly exact. Like, bro, if you haven't done FPV, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So literally, I just watch it drift. And this is the worst part, Brandon. It crashed, right? Into the sidewall of the cave. Fell down into 10, 20, 30 feet of water.
Gone.
And then everybody's like, and I'm literally like just standing there and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Bro, I go to, best part of the story, I go to a local like dive shop and I'm like, hey, can I get some scuba gear? And they're like, sir, you got a certificate, a license, I'm like, oh, you need that? And they're like, yeah, you can't just get a scuba tank. Like, bro, you could die. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, can I get like a little like a snorkel thing? And I was like, also, can I get a little like boat, like a little kayak? You know what I mean?
Kayak?
And they're like, bro, what do you need? And I'm like, oh, I'll be real with you. I crashed a drone inside of a cave. And they were like, the cave down the road? And I was like, yeah, the cave down the road. They were like, no, we can't give anything to you. And I was like, why? And he was just like, oh, people go in that cave and die all the time. Like, that's like for the spirits.
What?
And I was like, now, I got to be honest with you. I don't know what y'all's beliefs are, but I don't believe in that. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm not like thinking, like, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. He was like, he literally handed me a boogie board and a snorkel, right? And he said, don't worry about it. He was like, if you don't bring it back, it's cool, whatever. Like, we're good. Like, he didn't want any connection with it. So tell me, I'm starting to paddle out to this cave, right? You know what comes into my mind? I'm thinking to myself, what people will call spirits is an alligator or like an anaconda. Like, what they'll attribute to something else.
Yeah.
It'll be a real thing. And so then when you go into a cave, what nobody will tell you, there ain't no light in a cave. The water's cold. And all I could think is every movie, the black person dies first. That's like all I could think of. And I was like, oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. And I literally, I didn't even try to get the drone. I literally put the goggles like in 1 inch of water, couldn't see nothing. Everything was pitch black. And then I was like, Lord, help me get back to the mouth of the cave. And I just, as fast as I could, oh my gosh, bro.
Dude, you're
Anyways.
better than me. I would not have even paddled out there.
Well, you know why? I didn't get the insurance, the Phantom 3. I got on the phone with American Express and I said, hey, I crashed my drone. Is there any sort of like credit card deal? And they're like, oh yeah, we insure stuff, especially on travel. We just need the drone.
Oh,
You get the drone. We can repair it or replace it. But he's like, if you don't have a drone, we don't know if you like stole it or like if it got lost or theft or whatever. And so I was like, I have to get like, this is like $1,200.
Yeah.
If I don't get the drone, I'm out $1,200.
Bro, you don't want to deal with the spirits.
Guys, this was 2014, 2015. Stop judging me.
Bro, that's hilarious. Real quick, we're gonna end off on this one because that's funny. Super chat came in from Starlight Media. We were playing Would You Rather and we went off some crazy rabbit holes there. But from Starlight Media, Super chat says, oh God. I don't even want to read it. You can read it.
Would you rather only shoot on Lumix for the rest of your life or be a Dallas Cowboys fan? Hey, how about them Cowboys? That's easy.
Wait, you're a Cowboys fan?
No. I'm just saying.
I feel like Starlight knows me.
I could literally be on I could shoot on any brand that I want to. All I got to do is hope that Dak Prescott can put together a Super Bowl run.
He can't.
I said hope.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is actually really tough. That's the reason why. That's why I'm like, Starlight must knows me.
Lumix gang?
Dude, I hate the Cowboys.
Wow.
So much. Like, so much. I can't be a Cowboys fan. But shoot on Lumix for the rest of my life? Oh my gosh. Dude.
Pick.
No. Dude.
The spirits have died.
Starlight, dang. Why'd you have to put a super chat on? I could have ignored it. Lumix for the rest of my life. God dang. I think I'm just gonna have to be
full frames.
I think I'm gonna have to be a Cowboys fan and never watch football. I think that's it. That's
How
my
about
solution.
them Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be out of there. Jeez, that's tough, dude. Starlight, you know me too well. I don't know what you know, bro. I hate the Cowboys so much, but as Andrew said, the spirits have got me. Dude, that's an old school Dave Chappelle throwback.
Yes.
That's an old school. I had that thing on I had that Killing Them Softly.
Yeah.
I had that entire comedy special on my iPod video.
Really?
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was the first video I ever downloaded onto my iPod video was Dave Chappelle's Killing Them Softly stand-up.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. Oh, man. This is Camera Junkie. Lumix with all
He's trying to soften the blow.
Dude, it's... No, I can't be locked to Lumix.
Yeah, Matt, I'll take that Lumix GFX camera.
Yep.
Any day, every day. Give me that Fuji Lumix.
That's a real fan. I love you, Matt. That's awesome. Get that Lumix GFX.
That's a good throwback. That's
a great throwback. All right. Well, guys, we have had a great time hanging out with you. You guys want to hear something really funny real quick before we bow out of here? Me and Jarrell have talked multiple times about how we should make this show shorter. Every week, we try to make it shorter. And every week, I think we have so much fun hanging out with you that
I'm going to blame it on the chat.
it's a great time.
I'm going to blame it on the chat.
Thank
you guys are too good.
You guys are great. You guys are really worth sticking around. So we just have too much fun. But thank you guys so much for tuning in for this week's episode of Uncensored. It's been a blast. Any last words?
Peace.
We'll catch you guys next week. Peace out, guys.